Hello, fabulous Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of May 2016, Love Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. This month, in the context of love, we've got a beautiful sky happening now, and a lot of that energy is taking place at the very bottom of the chart, and that has to do with where you've been. It's your roots, it's your past. And yes, we have Mercury retrograde in this part of the sky, and that means an evaluation of what has been in the context of love. Now, with this type of Mercury retrograde, I got to be honest, if Mercury was retro in your opposite sign, I would say, okay, lovers from the past, partners from the past could show up. That is a little bit, it is possible that people that you dated in the past you hear from now, because Mercury is ruler of the part of the sky that has to do with dating. So that is possible. But in general, I've found it's not so much that past loves return, but rather you get a different perspective on the past. You hear something, somebody from the past all of a sudden is on social media. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember we went out once. That didn't go too good. And you realize why, and why didn't it work out? What was going on with you at the time? And these types of considerations start to take place for you. Now, this is a tremendous opportunity for you to understand yourself, to learn about yourself, and to figure out where you want to go from here in terms of your future in love. What's your present? What's your future? A lot of that can be understood by having a re-look or reconsideration of the past and what was. So there is that sense of reflection. There is that very powerful sense of appreciation of what has been. And at the same time now, I think that there's something in you, some part of you that is ready to in some way march forward, if you will, move on forward. And while there is this understanding that knowing the past and understanding it is important, at the same time, you're very future-minded with this given sky. And a lot of that is because of the full moon happening in the late part of the month. In fact, I think a lot of that full moon in love is going to speak to what you hoped for in love at one time and how reality is different necessarily than what we hoped for. And how do you feel about that? Does it work for you? Is it not? Can you change things? Are you not going to? These are the types of considerations that are likely to come up. Lots of personal processes here. Now, the other thing I do want to let you know, I got to say, we do have this very interesting energy happening where it comes to friends and the part of the sky that has to do with friends. I do think that it is possible that through friends, through social situations, the likelihood of running into somebody from the past is possible. So keep that in mind, particularly social events as we move into the second half of the month. I do think that that's a possibility. As I look at this particular sky, I got to say, I'm always going to be straightforward with you. I do want to tell you, for a small percentage of you out there, I do think that some of you out there might be a little bit surprised to find that someone that maybe you didn't really care about that much anyways, somebody that you just kind of dated at some time or just really had a little bit of a crush on at one point. It is possible that you find out that a friend is dating that person or had something going on with that person at some point. And that might take you a little bit by surprise. What that means to you, what you want to do with it, completely up to you. But that is one scenario that could play out for a small percentage of Aquarians out there. What I also really find interesting about this month is that there's a sense of wanting to, I do think there might be some need to rehash what has been the past so that you really can feel like it is done. It is behind you. Like, okay, can we let that go already? Now, are we really done? Is it really over? That type of thing I think can play out, especially for those of you in an established bond, but it's almost like a necessary kind of final peeling of an onion kind of layer where maybe you hadn't addressed an issue fully. Maybe it's time to really forgive an issue that took place way back. Which ultimately will allow you to feel that much more available, that much more present to the love that you have. So a lot of this energy, it will play out with those of you in established bonds. But again, those of you open to meeting someone new, there is going to be something remarkably familiar, right? I think about when I see Mercury retro in this part of the sky, and you're open to meeting new people, I always think of that song by Mary J. Blige, You Remind Me. So it's kind of like someone who's very reminiscent of someone from the past. I hope I got that title right. It's been a long time since I heard that song. But somebody who's very reminiscent of someone that you knew back in the day. What I love about this month for you is that there's an understanding that as you understand the past, you're able to move that much more clearer into the future. That's one of the blessings of Mercury retrograde. It help us to be more fully in the present. And it helps us to clear away whatever debris needs to, so that we can powerfully move towards a future. And a lot of times move towards a future more consciously chosen as one with greater love and greater wisdom as well. Visit Amazon.com to learn about my book, Astrology, realized in English and Spanish, and shop my website, NadiyaShah.com, for exclusive The Universe is Wise and Loving merchandise and my signature jewelry line, Astro Fabulous Jewelry. Enjoy.